Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Into the Pit. And I have here Miss Nicki Ojeda, and she does tarot readings. And the name of your website is Tarot with Tatiara.
That's correct.
Sweet. So, where are you located?
I'm in Pittsburgh now. I moved from New Orleans not too long ago, so I'm enjoying the seasons.
I got you. My wife's actually from Louisiana, so not too far from New Orleans. You know where Morgan City is?
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
She grew up kind of around that area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do miss the weather a little bit, and then I don't miss the weather on another level.
Yeah, hurricanes and all those good fun things.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like voodoo and that kind of culture there in Louisiana. That had to be kind of a change for you to move up to Pittsburgh, huh?
Well, I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, so
Okay.
it's in a way it's kind of like coming home to a
Okay.
degree.
Close, yeah.
I've always had my own culture regarding how I go about these things.
And so how did you get into all this?
Well, I was working at an herb store, an herb shop. This lady, Karen, was my mentor, and I was learning all about herbs and essential oils, which come into play later. And she gifted me with the Herbal tarot. And so I was 15 years old, and so it's still a formative time. And I was able to weave the symbolism of both in, and I just adored tarot. And it speaks on many levels, and I took to it. But that's how I got started. She gave me the Herbal tarot.
You'll have to explain that one to me. I've never heard of that one.
It's just a tarot deck that has the correlations of a different herb for each card, and it has sort of like astrological associations, elemental, planetary, everything. And it really informs how I do my readings, and then how I create I also offer energetically designed essential oil blends it's based on the reading to help balance energies that are shown that need to be, checks and balances. So I really enjoy that as well.
I'm very much into the paranormal and things of that sort, but I've always been very skeptical of everything. Even though I've been on investigations and I've seen things and I've got evidence, I still question what I've seen, and I question myself. Did I really see that? Did I really hear that? But I have met psychics in the past. Some you tell they were just shady. They just tell you what you want to hear and, give me my money, and then you leave. But I've met some that, number one, didn't ask me for a dime. But number two, they literally were up to the point on certain things that they told me. There was no way they could have known. I met this lady for the first time, and she's sitting there and she's going, "Why do I keep hearing the water boy?" And we started laughing because between me and my wife and my daughters, we're always quoting from the water boy. That's like our movie. But nobody else really knows that.
Right. Well,
So,
I always say skepticism is very healthy because, I've even gotten readings from, there's riffraff in my lane. What else can I say? So you have to look for someone who's going to, what's their mission statement? Why are they doing this? And the way I see it is it's not so much about fortune telling. And my past life readings are the greater percentage of my clientele. And, it's not a parlor trick. It's not a novelty.
right.
This is to help you get at your depth psychology, frankly. It's like there's plenty of, shallow things out there. But if you seek a reading from me, you need to be prepared to go deep and see what's there. And, skepticism is healthy. I've even been skeptical of my own, past life reading abilities. And I finally had to just trust myself, because every time I do one, I've gotten so much, validation. I'm past the point of needing that now, but it is definitely a process, because like regarding the paranormal, I don't automatically think something's a ghost. That's the last resort for me. It's like, get all the common sense stuff out of the way first. That's just how I view it.
Yeah, and I've had a past life regression, and a really trusted friend of mine that I went through this. And are you trying to connect to me?
Huh?
Are you trying to connect to me?
You mean like psychically? I
Yes.
never try.
Okay. I'm just wondering because I'm getting that feeling in my stomach that I always get when it happens. So,
Well, since we're talking about it, I automatically start to enter that state of consciousness. But yeah, I never try. It either happens or it doesn't.
I-
But one quick note, I don't do past life regressions because that requires the querant, the one
oh yeah.
inquiring, to be hypnotized. And when I do it, I do that for you. So
Right.
I just do the reading. I don't take you there, but you end up going there sometimes a little bit.
That's what happened to me is I was
Yeah.
taken back there, and if the experience that I had, whether it was just a figment of my imagination or not, it opened up something in me, and it helped me to release some things that I think I was holding on to that I needed to let go of, and then realized the things that I am going through now I have gone through before.
Yes, the patterns, exactly.
The
Glad you know that.
patterns,
Yes.
it was amazing. And I tell people, look, even if you're skeptical about this, just go through it, and you might just find something in your consciousness that will help you to move forward and to let go of things, because that's what holds us to the past. You know, we were
Right.
talking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, I was going to cut you off. Sorry.
oh, but the my thought is that you don't necessarily forget the past, you just don't live in it anymore. It's kind of like a picture to say, oh yeah, I remember that time, but I don't have to remember the bad things that I went through anymore. That's not me. That's not part of my life. I'm I'm evolved, but I'm not quite where I want to be. So that's why when I'm meeting one, especially like you, if you have any extra insight that you might be able to pass on, I would very, very much appreciate it.
Well, the main point is regarding archetypes. And archetypes are patterns of energy, coined by Carl Jung, and you can think of it in a lot of different ways. But basically, let's just say you have an archetype of the victim that you've carried from a bad death or injustice from another life, or even from this life. You know, sometimes they do repeat because it's a evolve or repeat scenario. And so you have this archetype and you want to transform it to the next highest level. And that's what my mission statement is to help my querent decide what archetypes are telling the story and to bump it up to the next level. For example, because of my, traumatic religious upbringing, I have this take no shit rebel inside.
Yeah,
Excuse my français, but
I
I would really prefer to have it be a love aligned rebel, like this absolutely necessary rebel that allows the age of Aquarius to usher in the highest expression. And that is everyone's individuality, blooming beautifully together, and it helps the collective, so it's upgrading your archetypes, what unconscious patterns are running the show, because the whole adage of like your thoughts create your reality, there's a lot of wisdom in that, but it's incomplete, because you'll find that yes, being positive is all wonderful, but you still have to look at what unconscious patterns are running things that create the thoughts. And so we're making the unconscious conscious to transform basically our perceptions, our attitudes, our paradigm, our worldview. It's really involves shadow work too. So shadow work and upgrading your archetypes are really what I'm about assisting people with.
well, I mean, to be realistic, you can't uh, you can't get into the good times if you haven't gone through bad times. You don't know what good times would be if you didn't have bad times.
Affirmative.
Um, and my life is turned a lot better. And although I'm going through a lot of things right now, I feel it a little easier to handle it. I still have a bit of depression that's trying to get a hold of me, but I'm fighting it. um, I just want to help the people that are watching this or they're listening to this to get an understanding of how you can help people to get to that point where, yes, you're going to run into things from the day to now to the day till you die, you're going to run into some kind of problems. It's inevitable, but the way you handle it is a lot different. And the way you overcome gets to be easier, as long as you are wanting to grow. So I'm gonna let you explain it. I'll take over the conversation.
So you said, overcoming. Let's just say you're in this little sort of a lost space where you don't quite know, how to overcome. In our culture, we aren't exactly encouraged to be authentic with our emotions. There's like this not so subtle, you should always be happy. Just be happy. If you're not happy, then something's wrong. But really, it's not realistic to be happy all of the time. So when you're going through these tough times, which is what life is all about, and growth and becoming, it's like a sword being forged in the fire. You need to be like right here where your true north, true self, and have compassion for these emotions and do not repress them. It's like, how can you feel the emotions without identifying with them and without letting them take over? It's like, what message do you have for me? You say to this emotion with so much self-compassion and like radical self-acceptance and not so much judgment. Because I find that our depression comes from, like, personally speaking, I've written a blog about spiritual bypassing because I think it's a big thing, toxic positivity. How can you just be with what you're going through and not judge yourself for having negative emotions? Because I went through that, and I was down on myself because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a negative person. And it's like, because I was riding the positive train, I was really spiritual bypassing in my 20s, and it helped me to do those things, but it was just half the picture. Like, yes, hanging out in the heights of ascension and beauty is where we want to end up, but we still have to plumb our depths so that we can be really authentic. Yeah. And it's scary, and it's a journey, and it's not a super fast, quick thing. Like, the law of attraction, it's your fault if you don't attract the positive things. That is BS, because they're taking a universal law and just sort of packaging it for our society's quick fix mentality. And it's trying to bypass the work of looking at our own personal underworld.
Yeah. Well,
with compassion.
I think we try so hard to avoid any kind of negativity at all. And I'm saying in the form of whatever problem comes your way. And I'll admit, I'm kind of going through this. It's just like this phase of, I don't want to deal with it, but I have to if I want to get to the next level. So once again, I'm getting past getting over the negativity to gain more positivity, that more wisdom. You pick up wisdom along the way. And if you aren't able to show compassion and share your wisdom with others, then you're not only doing them a disservice, but you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're a teacher. And how do you be a better teacher? You keep teaching and you keep learning, right?
Right. And it's like, what inspires you? What lights you up? If it's aligned with your true north, I call it your highest good, who you really are without all the masks and conditioning. That should be your motivator, and it depends on how you look at things. Like, you could say that's what's in touch with divine. You could be an atheist and you could just say that's the best part of me. The point is touching into that whenever you can, and letting that inform and motivate you, to the best of your ability, and you will level up. It's just not super fast. It's a journey that's, and we don't get to escape the things that we'd rather not deal with. That's true. And so, yes, all the compassion, but it's like, it's a combination of making sure that the heights of your being are motivating you, and almost like trying to guide the depths of your being out into the light. It sounds easy, but it is like a process. It's like being with truth, with your real authenticity. And then once you sort of work through all that, you'll realize things start falling into place where the world needs your truth, your real truth.
Right.
You feel it in your body, it's not just your mind guiding you that maybe someone else influenced you, but you feel it like in 3 spots in your body: your gut, your heart, and your third eye. And when that's aligned with your true north and divine, you are going to be more on point. And, nobody stays there all the time. It's just the
Yeah.
human journey. But having that motivator and that mission statement of wanting to make the world better just by your authentic self doing it, it's actually something I finally had to just, allow myself, because we all have trauma and low self-esteem and all that we go through.
Yes, definitely. Well, I do the paranormal show, but I've met people along this journey that help motivate me to start a positivity style show too. So I've joined them together on this network. I think it would be great to come on there sometime and talk to the folks.
I would love it.
I have a lot of people that they teach the law of attraction and the secret, and but I have uh, psychic mediums on. I have life coaches come on, authors, musicians, just people that have this positive message that they've gotten from something negative that has happened to them.
Oh, yes.
One always, every time I talk to her, she says, rewrite your story, rewrite your story. You
Absolutely.
make it triumphant this time.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yeah, that's great.
that's made a difference. It really has.
I do just want to say, I do not poo-poo the new age or the law of attraction or any of that. I love all of that. It's a little incomplete when you do it just strictly mainstream and you don't do the spiritual work. That's all I'm saying. It is absolutely valuable. So I would never mean to put that down because I'm so into that, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
But, like what you were saying, make your story triumphant. That's talking about, that's like upgrading your archetypes. Like, my little wounded inner child inside is the wounded healer. That's how I can touch people. It's like, yes, I have a positive message, but people might not be right there yet. So I'm able to get there where they are with compassion, and I would love to be on anything where I can, just share that message of, yes, growth, becoming, being. It never stops. It doesn't matter if you're 78. There's always a leveling up within.
I'm getting there. 20 more years and I'll be 78.
I'm getting there too.
Like I said, I've tried to stay positive, and I should be doing it and not just trying it. But we've been hit with one thing after another lately, and we had a stressor that happened this last weekend that made it very quite difficult. And instead of being my usual champion self, not letting anything hold me back, I retreated to my room and stayed there the rest of the weekend.
And that's exactly what you needed, was to cocoon and be authentic, because there's toxic positivity that can happen when we're not allowing a process.
Oh yeah, I was willing to say some things that I'm sure was going to piss a lot of people off. So I've tried to be a nice guy all my life, and for the most part I am. But the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to really be blunt with some people.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to show them teeth.
Yeah. I was a supervisor for many years, and when I dealt with different people, I knew how to talk to them. I had a guy that was, older than me, but I had to talk to him like he was a little kid, and then, kind of baby him a little bit, but I could still talk him into doing what I needed him to do and get along with everybody around him. And then there were those that look, man, this is the rules and you're going to obey them or you're going home. I've had those kind of people. I've learned to deal with them differently, but for the most part, I always try to use compassion. My boss chewed me out for using compassion one time. I kid you not. Real quick, I won't take up much of your time, but
that's fine.
We had a summer where, it was water leak after water leak after water leak. And my guys were working 7 days a week. Some of them were working 12 to 16-hour days and, working in shifts. And I even got a crew going out there, and I was out there helping them. And finally, after the summer, it started to die down. And it was a payday. So I said, I'm going to stop and get the guys some donuts and kolaches, just to say thank you for doing
Yeah.
this. So I came in and I said, hey guys, got good news for you. I just looked at the numbers. We're caught up with everything. Thank you so much for your good work. There's donuts and kolaches here. They're all for me. Dig in, eat what you want, and, let them go to town, right? Soon as the meeting's over, my boss pulls me into his office and he chewed me out. How dare you do that? You keep praising them like that and they're going to stop working for you. It's funny because when he wanted them to do something, they would find ways to not do it. And if I went out there and said, hey guys, do you mind doing this? Got right on it. You have to be compassionate.
He's not the only boss who has the wrong idea. And, I feel like there are changes that have been going on, and people are realizing just how important employees are and quality of life is. And when you give and appreciate, yeah, they are more likely to, want to be what you need them to be, and it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
And the more compassion, just like striking that fine line, between giving what's deserved and then you don't want to be an overgiver,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
I
something that you
understand that.
can, I've been, in seeking to be super positive all the time. I have become an overgiver and all the vampires came to feed and all that. So, it's definitely a learning process, but yes, compassion, especially in a situation like that. I think more bosses are starting to realize that, like, there's a transformation going on about how important quality of life is and how important it is to feel appreciated.
Yeah. Well, people need to just be respectful to each other, whether you
Yeah.
agree with what they're doing or not. Just, be respectful, show some kindness. Nothing in this world's ever going to change if you don't use love. You can try all the force that you want to. That's not going to change people's hearts. I've went through a lot of things too, where I thought a certain way, and then I got around people that they were different, and it wasn't exactly what I had hoped for, but I care more about the relationship than what they were doing. I mean, they weren't hurting anybody, but compassion, and it has to go both ways. Can't just be from one side. Both people need to be compassionate.
Right. And it's like the more you start aligning with your true north, that's the way I like to put it, the more that you will attract, a little bit better relationships. And some relationships, they will either fall away or just kind of lessen. It's just the way it is. Because if there's like less and less resonating together, that has a reason to be in a relationship, either they'll be inspired by you, or sometimes they'll be jealous of you, even unconsciously. Your light might illuminate their shadow. They don't know how to be with that. So either they'll level up with you, and that'll be a great thing when you can inspire others without even trying, just by shining your light. It does happen, and it will attract better people, and hopefully, the ones who can benefit from it, a mutual benefit will be there, and, I've had to cut people out who are toxic, and it's sad. You just have to do it sometimes. But
if I didn't, I wouldn't be alive.
Right. Just don't rush to do it. Just feel it out. That's what I would advise people. Just feel it out and lessen it a little bit, and either they'll level up or they won't. And make sure you're looking at yourself too. Level up yourself.
I actually call it, I love them from afar.
Oh, yes.
Because I don't want to just totally not have them in my life at all. It's just I don't spend as much time with them because they're still doing the partying, drinking, the drugs and stuff. And that stuff I had to give up a long time ago, like I said, or I wouldn't be here right now. So, yeah. I almost died at age 36 from a heart attack. That's how bad my partying and stuff got. So, yeah. Look, you have to surround yourself with good people. My wife says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, because our energy fields, as it were, are so permeable. I mean, if you want to get very esoteric, we really are all one part of consciousness, and it's like, so sharing that compassion is important, but at the same time, you have to be able to, some people can just sort of drain you and make it very hard to shine. And that's a lesson I had to learn. And yes, some people, even not maliciously, but they want to keep dragging you back down to, hey, let's, do some more, something excessive and bad for us.
So what's been your biggest challenge so far?
My biggest challenge has been overcoming the unconscious stories in my past from a very traumatic religious upbringing. I actually got a lot of therapeutic value by having an essay published in a little book called Goodbye, Jesus, I've Gone Home to Mother. And it's about former Christians who have gone to paganism or witchcraft or the goddess, just a more inclusive way of feeling divinity, and it was very therapeutic to tell my story in that. And so, I still have to do shadow work. I still have to look at, this little thing on my shoulder that's trying to say I'm a sinner, and then I just like flick it off, But, it's still there after lots of years of work. So it's never like you're perfectly healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my greatest challenge. And that's what I think I can help people with, is just changing how you perceive your story. Because if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have the strength that I have now and the absolute insistence on being a true individual, which is something I like in people.
And see, I am not religious by any means. I used to belong to religions, and I didn't like it because it was the rules that these people were making up in the church. Because
Right.
if everybody was following the true word of God, then we would all be worshiping the same way, not how some man interpreted it. And some of them they're cults. I'm not going to be
I
nice
went to
about their
Jesus
cults.
camp. I went to Jesus camp. So yes.
But I mean, I was a Baptist preacher for 5 years, and I would go back and visit the church. But as far as a religion, I want to follow God. I want to follow Jesus. I want to be on a spiritual path, not a religious path.
Exactly.
So if
And
that
one
makes
thing,
sense.
yeah. And see, one thing is, like I'm a spiritual person, not exactly religious, although I have ways that I'm guided. It's more like an eclectic blend of what works for me. But, I've seen plenty of beautiful Christians inspired by the right things, so I would never like poo-poo it completely. But what I've seen the most is disturbing is that any spiritual experience that you have is devalued. It's like religion is all about tuning into someone else's spiritual experience. And I think
That's
it's important we need
exactly
to
it.
have our own, and it's
Yeah.
different for everyone. And
Yeah,
religion
for
should
sure.
only be a guideline at best.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a beginner's book, I guess you'd say, but not something that you have to. How do I explain it? It's almost like when you're learning to read or to even use a typewriter or something. You go through these certain patterns, but you don't have to stick to those patterns to, you get your own rhythm going, and that's who you are. It's kind of a hard way to explain it, but that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, like get inspired and move on.
Yeah. And when I try to get on level, the spiritual level, that's when I start having my experiences and my growth. And it may be something as simple as meeting a homeless person and helping them out, and talking to them. And then you find out later on, you just talk this person out of killing themselves or something. I've had situations like that come up. Just somebody says, you talking to me changed my whole outlook for the day. So that it wasn't me, it was the spirit that was talking. I was being used as a vessel, but it kind of gives you a sense of confidence, and it lifts you, and I think it takes you to a higher level. Well, I can get on that subject all day long.
It's like being in a state of universal harmony where it's like, it's almost like, yeah, we all say self-love, love yourself, but it's almost like yourself up here is loving yourself down here, and yourself down here is like allowing yourself to be loved by
Yeah.
yourself up here, and you settle into the piece of your sacred identity, because we're all a piece of it. We're all a piece of it, regardless of how you look at it is. And um, I would just suggest that whatever your guidance is, make sure that it's life affirming. Make sure that it's soul affirming and spirit affirming, and not about control and conformity for the sake of, nothing really good.
Yeah, that I always say you let God tell you what should be and shouldn't be in your life. And if he puts it in your heart to take it away, then let him take it away. And if he doesn't put it on your heart that you need, then you just keep doing it. And sometimes there's things that you do, it may be years from now before he says, all right, you know what? It's probably about time to put that down. That's time to move on to something else. You just have to be willing to listen and accept the message.
And learning how to listen and to discern what is that true voice and what is fear or other people's conditioning. It's all about getting that off. It really is. And just letting that real light shine. And it's like I say all these things, it sounds so easy, but again, it's a path.
Oh boy,
and you're going to get off of it and you got to just get back on, be kind to yourself. Whoops, just get back on, and it's just a matter of like expansion and like unfolding organically. You can't rush it, but you can attempt to allow it. And quite frankly, the more you ask for divine guidance, like I just have this little prayer. It's like I'm asking for divine guidance. I expect divine guidance. I receive it. I accept it. I trust it, and I act on it. Thank you.
That's what you do. Yeah, exactly. It has to be you have to be alone talking to your guides, to God, to get that message. And usually I can get a sign, that this is what I want you to do. And that's pretty amazing. It could be really something as simple as show me, 3 sets of 3 numbers that are the same. And sure enough, I'll be driving down the road and there's 3 numbers, there's 3 numbers, there's 3 numbers, all the same.
When you get a sign.
Yep. Just watch what you ask for, because you'll get it.
Yeah. You're like, wait, I need a signier sign than that one. No. But yeah, I find like sacred shower time and bath time is a perfect time to cleanse, not just yourself, but it's just a perfect time to go within, and you don't have to make extra time if you're busy. Making extra time is great. I do meditate every day.
Yeah, meditation.
It's definitely helped me out a lot. I was lucky enough to get taught that when I was 17. So man, I'm really lucky to have had so many mentors just guide me to certain places, because I don't know what would have happened to me, feeling so alone and being so different in the family that I was in. But some of us are born to shake things up, break the cycles, do stuff like that. So yeah, just touching into that, take some time to have your own space. We're not exactly encouraged to do that, but I think that's changing. I think we're starting to realize just how important it is to be in touch with your truth and yourself. And because what else do you really have to filter your life through? Nothing.
Something that I've noticed, and I'm glad you brought that that you brought up that you were an herbalist, because I had an herbalist on the other day, and mind you, I've been talking to a lot of people that are into the more natural healing and all the different things that I go through with like my heart problems and my mental capacity whenever I'm in depression or anxiety or my PTSD episodes, all that. I was on every kind of medication you can imagine, and I got into doing the meditation and talking to myself before I'd go into a situation, saying everything's gonna be fine. And say I had my daughter with me or I had my wife with me, if I felt like something was going to happen, I could focus on them for just a moment and I could get that little bit of energy from them. I don't take any of those pills anymore.
That's beautiful.
Now, I have to remind folks that I am not a doctor. So you talk to your doctor about whatever you feel comfortable with. This is just my testimony. All those pills that I took, I had probably over a dozen pills that I took every night.
And that's definitely a lot.
So now I've gotten off those. Now I'm more into some vitamins and some herbal stuff. I do one for serenity, one to help me with my brain power, and one with my blood pressure. And ever since I started it, I'm just now starting to notice I'm getting better feeling. Um, I'm anxiety does not hit me like it used to. Crowds used to freak me out,
Yeah.
but I'm taking all your time here. I don't mean to talk over you. It's just
Oh,
this.
I don't mind. I enjoy the conversation. I really do. It's give and take, and of like bringing up the points that probably the listeners need to hear. It sort of like weaves in and out because another thing you're talking about is just basically getting back to a natural state. And I'm not talking about going crazy or whatever. I'm just talking about don't focus on don'ts, just focus on do's. Include
Mm-hmm.
it in your life. Include some real food and some herbs and some vitamins,
Oh yeah.
and there will be things that shift because, I like to be as natural as possible, but I still go to the doctor when I need to, things like
Myself.
that. Absolutely. You don't want to take it to a level where it's not beneficial. The more you include it, you'll see where it needs to go. And it's all about trusting. Yes, you do want to trust your intuition, but at the same time, you will got to keep learning, and experiencing,
Yeah.
and that informs your intuition. It's like a give and take of a growth of holistic health.
Yeah.
Like the more you can be healthy in your body, the more you'll be able to access other, and vice versa as well. They really are only separate in the sense of our conceptualizations, and it's necessary to work with certain aspects of our whole being. But in the
Yeah.
end, everything affects everything. And so it's all about, it goes back to that love energy.
Yeah. And fast sometimes.
Mhm.
Fast, detoxify your body. I mean, don't put any caffeine or any kind of other drugs in your body. Just let them run out of your body for a little bit. It seems like you go up a notch every time you go through that. It makes your body feel so much better. You feel clean on the inside as well as the outside.
Right. And then, it's all about experimentation because it's the beauty of it is it really isn't the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person will find green tea very beneficial and like, oh, another person might get too jittery. And, I find that extremely dark red wine in moderation really helps me. And it seems to just clear something out and helps me on my menopause journey. But it's all about that, keeping it in its place. I only have the same amount. It's not about like getting completely, overwrought with a certain type of substance.
Yeah.
They're just using it as medicine, really.
And don't get me wrong, I still have medications that I have to take.
Mhm.
But I also notice that I'm not taking as much of that as I used to.
Yeah, that did
Um,
sound like an excessive amount too, not to disrespect medications. I don't. But yeah, when you're taking 12, maybe, yeah, it's a good thing you sort of took a closer look at that situation.
well,
Bless you.
I just want people to know that there is alternatives that try, but
Mhm.
talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to do something that's going to be detrimental to your health. This is just what happened for me. So
Right, because
take that,
anything could be
YouTube.
taken. Yeah, yeah. Anything could be taken to a crazy level. You just want to have some moderation and sense about how you're going about things and really listening for truth.
Of course.
That's what everything boils down to.
So
Trusting.
I don't normally ask my guests to do this on while we're recording, but can you take me through the process of what you do? Because I mean, my wife does oracle cards, and
Sure.
I don't understand all that stuff.
Okay. So I'm different than the average tarot reader. I've been doing it for 35 years. I don't do spreads unless I'm doing it for myself because I need a little more structure. I don't really do readings for myself unless it's like a 3-card thing or something. But I have my querant, that's the one asking the questions. And I do online readings most of the time, but even in person, I just have them tell me when to stop and we get 3 cards. I don't let them tell me anything about their situation. And we draw the 3 cards and that's when I just start talking. And it's always a wow or a whoa. And then I ask them, do you want to ask me a question now or ask for clarification, or you want me to just keep going? And I get all 3 and I keep drawing, like it's a conversation. That's how I do my readings. It's a conversational style. And we always get to the root of something, and sometimes they ask me for clarification here or there, but I'm very in tune with the symbology of the cards, and it's a proclivity, but it's not a gift because I worked for this. I've worked hard at this. It's not just like, oh, it just came so easy to me, but it's something that I resonate with. And then when I go to do a past life reading, ironically, it's the same process, but I just have to take a little bit longer for a minute to get in there. And then I see a certain pattern or trajectory, and then I will draw cards to inspire me to continue with what I'm seeing. So I use the tarot cards in my past life reading as well, but it's just like I just drawing them out, and attuning into that, because the way I see it is I'm not trying to do fortune telling. The reading is a snapshot of so the tarot reading is a snapshot of your current trajectory, your current probabilities, not definite outcomes. Because in my view, we are doing divination so that we can get a handle on our trajectories and ease them when possible toward the outcomes that are what we want to see in our life. And it kind of can show you where you got to do some work or balance this, balance that. Of course, there are big things that are fated to happen based on our life, but generally speaking, nothing's set in stone. Anything that can be moved can be moved. It's like very paradoxical. We have, free will within a certain aspects of who we are determined, but how we experience our life, we can take a little more control of that, learn a little bit more about ourselves. And with the past lives, lots of times there's a pattern that you can't reconcile it with something that you've experienced in your life, but it's like there, or maybe it happened earlier or something that's unconscious. And the past lives can help me dig that up, as it were, and show you an area that needs to be healed and why. So if you have any other questions, I can specify.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, maybe doing a reading for me. We don't have to get too in depth, but I do need some clarification on something that's come up.
Okay. Well, if you'll give me 1 second to go get my cards, I'll be
Sure.
right back. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, of course. I can edit that out. No problem.
Sure. Now this is just going to be a mini reading, of course, because my real readings take a lot of energy. But I can tap in. Okay, so take a deep breath and just be here now a little bit more. And if you wouldn't mind focusing on your issue. This reading's for Kyle. And I'm going to spread the cards out in a line. They're all spread out. And I'm going to run my hand over the cards. And when I tell you to, you're going to tell me when to stop. And that's how we get the first 3 cards. So whenever you feel the urge, tell me when to stop, starting now.
Right there.
Mm-hmm. Again, please.
Okay, right there.
Mm-hmm. And once more.
Okay, right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Extra pair of something on here. Eyes. All right. Okay, so you want to take charge of your physical plane, be it financial, a new financial endeavor, a new way of taking control of your world, your material being, your body, your health, and everything. So you're being called to level up in your relationship to your physical world. And the more creatively you can do this, the more you seize opportunities for movement, the more you're going to have financial rewards, but it's almost going to be like you're going to be increasing the art in your life, like art as life. Even if it isn't painting or drawing or whatever, it's the way you go about things. You are being called to bring just a little more soul, a little more creativity, a little more Kyle into your deeds. And then you'll become more of a king of your physical world. And then I'm going to just draw 3 archetype cards here. All right, so we have the thread, the vision, and the castle. So if you think of Ariadne's thread, I don't know if you know a lot about mythology, but anyway, like you're following something through a labyrinth where it's unknown. You are in a state of having to learn how to be with not knowing what's going to happen. And there is a vision, like an overarching vision that can guide you if you sort of allow it to inspire you. And basically hone your mission statement, hone your why am I here to the best of your ability. And if I could be here for any reason I wanted to, what would it be? You know, if I didn't have any of these things on me, what would I be? What would I do? How would I show up in my life? And then we have the castle. So the castle is a time to take a lot of stock in, and yes, enjoy what we've built, reap rewards, but you want to make sure the castle has a moat and isn't trapping you in old, outmoded ways of being. I have a cat here picking up on the energy. So now at this point, I would ask you, would you like to ask me a little bit of a clarifying question? If it's a private matter, I understand, but you could phrase it in something to where we have one more question and I'll see if I touch in on it a little bit.
Well, I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I have a health problem that's come up, actually a couple of health problems that have come up. And I'm more worried about my wife and my family being taken care of.
Okay, so see this card here? It's like you do need to lay treasures aside for the future, okay? Do that. It's just common sense, it's just good. But that's like also leaving your creativity in can help. And I'll draw 3 more cards, you can get in that, okay? Okay, so there is an emotional element. You know, I have the Queen of Cups here. It could represent your wife, but it could also represent a part of yourself that you do need to tune into, and that is your intuition, your emotion, and let it guide you a little bit more. There's a Judgment card, which means there is karma coming, but it isn't to be thought of as punishment or a punitive deity. It's energetic cause and effect only. That's all karma is. It's energetic cause and effect. And there's some effects that are going to be coming up that are going to require you to cut off some old mentalities. You have to just cut them off. Like the word decide is, it's like it has the word side, like murder. You're going to murder off a choice, and it'll be for the best. Like there's going to be a certain thing where the old is not going to work anymore, and you're just going to have to start with the mental plane to get your strength. And you know, that's as far as I can go here. But when we're in the midst, I just keep going. It's generally a half an hour reading. And
give me some things to think about. I don't know. I have been thinking over a lot of things lately, and I do need to make sure there's a nest egg left behind just in case.
yeah.
But you know, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until I'm gone.
Right.
put it that way.
Motivating you is something that you can give a little more juice to, a little more your personal energy juice to. Why? You know, it can help with some stuck energy when you do that too.
And you know, it may be just one of those little hurdles that I get over again. I don't know. A lot of my health issues that I've just about gotten over have come back, and so I'm in for some fun the next few weeks.
Right. Well, yeah. So that last card was the Ace of Swords, and it was in a position where it's like, you know, taking control of your thoughts, but still being authentic. You know, it's like being like king of your thoughts, essentially. And how you view something can assist, you know, but if something's not going to be pretty, it's still something that we go through in life. Doesn't matter how many readings you get or whatever, there's still going to be things that are not pretty that show up, but how they end up manifesting and unfolding, you know, if you can just take a little bit more of a sovereign mentality and put a little more of your real soul into things, you know, not to simplify anything, but it's just little guidances that can make a big difference, you know.
You know, part of it that I should be scared, I'm not really scared.
Mm-hmm.
The part that's worrying me is the parts that are going to slow me down, and because I know it's going to happen, but I'm not going to stop. You know, I've got a mission. I have something I want to accomplish, and I want to leave something behind. So, you know, that's what I'm mainly worried about.
Right. And you have your mind and you have your voice. You're using them as a good tool already.
I do my best.
Yes. That's the trajectory that you can, you know, continue with, which is good. It's beautiful to have an outlet like that.
So do you mostly do your readings like this, say on a Zoom call or?
Especially since 2020, of course. So yes, I've brought my business online, yeah, and I've been able to do readings for people all over the world, you know, just by being in like I was in a certain sisterhood circle, and there were like women from Greece and Australia, Belgium, and UK. And so that was really nice to be able to touch into doing that. But, you know, I still do in-person things too, and festivals, and I do workshops. Like basically, I really enjoy this archetypal embodiment workshop that I do. It's experiential, where we draw in the energy into our body, and it really changes things because there's so much in the body that the energy gets stuck and we don't realize it. And just calling in that energy in a sacred container, it's really beyond words to try to explain, but I love doing those workshops for people. And also I create the essential oils, like I said, like for example, based on the little reading that I done for you, I would definitely have an idea of what type of oils I would put into your blend, just to help sharpen the mind, help call in the sovereignty, help accept the pebbles on the path, as it were, and use them, you know. So all those things with the archetypes and the symbolism, and they sort of weave together so that I can create an oil with the querant's intention. You know, I make the oil for you per se, but you have to do the magic, you know, like when you inhale it, you imagine and utilize that energy to balance yourself, you know. And it's like, not for everybody, but it's something I really enjoy doing. And I sell oils in retail, and I'm going to be doing that online as well. It's my first passion.
Oh, so are you're going to be selling oils?
Yeah, I do sell the personal ones made per reading, you know, based on that. And then I'm on my website. I already do sell oils retail, but I'm going to be selling them online here soon too as well. I have a whole Zodiac line, and then I have my artistic blends that I've made, you know.
Okay, because my wife is going to want to talk to you.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I can be reached through my website on the contact page, or my Facebook page, Tarot with Tatiara. I'm on that too. So,
do you have any other links that you'd like to share? Is it mainly your Facebook and the website?
I'm on Instagram as well. Everything's under Tarot with Tatiara. And so, yeah, that's my website will be expanding. But right now I offer the past life and tarot. And in addition to essential oils, I also offer flower essence blends because you don't like, it's good for people with asthma or whatever who don't want to be smelling essential oils, but you still want that energy. So the
Yes.
essence remedies that you take under your tongue, I also create those based on the reading.
I need the lavender to help me sleep.
That's so funny. I was going to say, when I said something about the mental thing, I was going to say, and lavender would be really good for that. So you picked up on that.
That's
That
funny.
synchronicity starts to happen when we have these conversations. That's why I enjoy the back and forth. Like, yeah, I like to talk too, but I like the back and forth even better because it's better for the listeners too, I believe.
Well, somebody like me who is a skeptic, I have to see things to believe it. And even after I've seen it, I still don't know if I believe it, but I want to experience these things. That's why I got into the paranormal and I got into this whole world with psychics and mediums. And I've pretty much figured out which ones are not good and which ones are the good ones. And, you have to be careful. There's people out there that's going to just want your money. They're going to tell you, oh, I can sell you a spell and it's going to cost you $5,000 if you want to get this evil spirit out of your home.
Oh, that's BS. And I've been a victim of that too, and it's all about discernment, just being able to discern their energy and don't give your power away.
No.
That's what it boils down to. Like I want to empower people. Like I said, I will give you the thing, but you have to do the work. And if you're trying to pay someone else to do the work for you, you're not going to get results. It's just not how it works. So please keep your healthy skepticism. I still have it too, It's just
It makes you better.
Yeah.
I think it makes you a lot better when you're skeptical, even of what you're getting into yourself. You're like, oh, I got to make sure this is on the line, legit. And if
that's in anything, but especially things like the unseen realm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you right now, if I didn't feel like you were legit, you wouldn't be on the show. So I appreciate you coming on and giving us your time. And if you could send me your links, I'd like to add that in the description of this show. And also I need a couple of pics that I can use for the thumbnail to go with the video and the audio and with our advertisement.
All right, that's great. To make sure I get all the links to share and promote your show.
It will get to
It's
you.
been such a pleasure, and promote myself too. It really has been a pleasure, and it's quite an honor to be able to, just speak these words, and hopefully they'll affect the grid somewhere, and maybe it'll help this person, and it changes another person's life if they come in contact with, So keep shining your light, and I will do the same. And it's been amazing.
Well, thank you. Maybe we can get you to come on one of our live shows and maybe do a few readings if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I would love it.
I'll email you and let you know.
All right. And thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And like I say, all the links will be in the description, so you'll be able to get a hold of her and give her a chance. I said this once before, and I mean it. If I don't believe in you, you're not going to be on my show. I can be more picky now.
Good.
You really should. Even if you're just starting out, you really should be picky. People will trust you more. And anyway, I will keep in contact with you.
Please.
And please come back. I would love to have you back on again.
All right, I will do so. Be honored to do so.
Well, I want to thank everybody that joins us. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please come back. I need your support. And for those who are regulars, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
Po boy.